humans have
you can't buy your
moral
hoodie because that
agency.
was made by Sweatshop.
Okay, so
was probably made by
this wasn't made by Sweatshop,
That
but that's
was.
just
I'm
an
telling you,
appeal
that
to
was.
futility. No, it's not. But
Where's
it wasn't.
made from?
It wasn't.
Where
But
was
this
it
is
made from? Where was
okay.
it
So
made
this
from?
can
Where
you
was it
let
made
me
from?
talk?
Where was
Can
it
you
made
let
from?
me talk? Let's
That's
say I
really
were
obvious.
kicking a dog right now and you asked me to stop
Yeah,
and I
no,
said you have a
here's the thing.
bone.
Yes or no?
No.
Yes or no?
No. What's up, everybody? Natalie here. I'm at Harvard University, and today we're giving out some delicious dog meat samples from Elwood's Organic Dog Meat Farm. We're going to see if the students are happy to chomp on the corpses of dogs, since most of them chomp on the corpses of pigs, chickens, and cows, and there's no morally relevant distinction. Let's see how it goes.
Like tripping, like actually dogs.
Yeah, so we have a farm in upstate New York. We give our dogs a great life. They get kisses, they get cuddles, and then when they're 6 to 12 months old, you know, humans are top of the food chain. It's just one bad day at the slaughterhouse.
Bro.
Lions eat dogs, so why shouldn't we? What do you think?
Well, I personally wouldn't, but that's what I said since day one, fam.
Yes, guys.
Facts.
You've probably figured out by now, we're actually an animal rights organization. What we're doing is showing that we've been culturally conditioned to view dogs and cats as individuals and pigs, chickens, cows as resources. But do you think there's actually any moral difference between those two groups of animals?
There's no way you might actually have dogs, though. Yeah, actually.
All right,
Oh,
we're an
yeah,
animal
so-
rights
Yeah,
organization.
fucking yeah. Let's go.
Do you think that animals should be included in our circle of moral concern?
I mean, I just eat them.
So is that a no?
Well, that's a mad complicated question.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just treat them well, but I'm still gonna eat them, no?
So by eating them, that's kind of not treating them well, right? Like you can't have both.
Well, that means animals don't treat animals well either.
I'm a vegetarian since
Okay.
1983.
That's
actually,
amazing. Good. So you understand the hypocrisy of society, right?
so- Yeah.
Yeah.
Although, you know, I live with people who eat meat. I accept them. I don't force them to change. But
Sure, and you know, we can't actually force anyone to change.
Yeah.
People obviously have free will, but when they're consuming animals, they are forcing those animals into lifetimes of torture, mutilation, and suffering, right?
yeah.
Do you think we should look to wild animals for our morality? They also eat their babies. Like, what if I had a baby and I ate my baby and I said
So we're doing
other
better than them
animals
already
do
by
it?
just eating them, and that's it. We don't eat our babies.
Right, so we don't behave like wild animals. But you're saying that we can eat animals because other animals can? I'm just pointing out that that's not logically consistent. What about eggs and dairy?
I do eat eggs and dairy. I've not gone vegan.
Would you ever consider going vegan?
I've thought about it, but, you know, at this point in my life, I don't feel like I want to change much because I'm over 70.
Do you think if you like animals, does it make sense to pay for them to be mutilated, confined, tortured, and killed?
No.
Yeah. So what would stop you from saying, all right, I'm going to go vegan?
It's so hard.
Do you think it's hard?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people think that, but in
I've tried.
reality, it's easy. Oh, you have tried?
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
Last year sometime.
Yeah, what happened?
It's so hard. Like it's because like there's so much animal product in the stores.
Sure.
So it's hard to not eat animal at all.
Are there non-animal products in the stores as well? Like think about tortillas, peanut butter, bread, pasta, tomato sauce, vegetables, rice, beans, tofu, tempeh. There's a lot of stuff that's not animal products too.
Yeah.
But then you pull out the whole big question
No,
of,
no.
if you're trying to be on that moral standpoint,
Right.
then you can't
So
use the phone.
humans
You
have
can't wear your
moral
hoodie
agency.
because that was made by Sweatshop.
Okay, so
was
this
probably
is
made by
this
Sweatshop.
wasn't made by Sweatshop,
That
but that's
was.
just
I'm
an
telling you,
appeal
that
to
was.
futility. No, it's not. But
It was.
it
Where's it
wasn't.
made from?
It wasn't.
Where
But
was
this
it
is
made from? Where was it
okay.
made
So
from?
this
Or
can
where
you
was it
let
made
me
from?
talk?
Where was
Can
it
you
made
let
from,
me
though?
talk?
Where was it
This
made?
was made in the
The
U.S.
microphone. And
Oh,
your
the
phone.
mic? I'm not sure.
Any electronics.
Let's say I had two microphones, right?
Yeah.
And one came from animal exploitation. I
Yeah.
knew that for a fact, and the other didn't.
And
Which
one
would
came
be
from human
better to choose?
exploitation.
No. Let's say the other one didn't. Let's say
we
the
live
choice
in a
was
capitalist
clear.
society. We function on human
Can you let me
exploitation.
talk?
Carry
So
on.
what you're doing is you're kind of pointing out that I'm a hypocrite, and that's
Not really,
not what
it's
I
just
like.
that
Let's say I were.
we're
Let's say
talking about
I
logical
were kicking a
consistency.
dog right now, and you asked me to stop, and I said, "Oh, you're wearing a sweatshirt." Do you think that would hold up? I'm asking you not to
No.
pay for animals to be
No,
tortured.
but your argument is that we cannot eat animals because wild animals do
That's
it,
not
and
my argument. That's not- no.
not morally fine.
I was responding to your argument, which was positing that we should be able to behave like wild animals.
Okay.
I was saying that that's not a good measure of morality.
Okay.
The reasons I don't think we should eat animals, I can explain
Yeah.
these. So first of all, they're sentient individuals who feel pain, who suffer, who don't want to be tortured and exploited. And we don't need to eat animals or any animal products to be healthy and survive and thrive. Putting those two things together,
Yeah.
to me, equals let's give animals kindness when we can.
Yeah, that
That's
perfectly
it.
makes sense.
Yes,
But-
that's
but-
veganism.
But I know that makes perfectly sense.
Okay, great.
I'm not against it. But
Okay,
the only
perfect.
thing is, logically, it's not just as black and white as that. What about if there was a situation where, because we have more food, if we're available to eat meat,
Yeah.
and that meat can go to humans who do not currently have food?
So in a situation
You know
of
what I mean?
survival, like if there's like a tribe and
Hmm.
they can't grow plants or something, I think you could justify it. Veganism is about doing what's practical and possible. That's why we're at Harvard, though. Everyone here has the ability to be vegan. We think when there is a choice, you should choose to be kind. So while some people can justify eating animals,
Enjoyability as well, though.
your own enjoyment.
Yeah. I would
Sure.
obviously put my own enjoyability before a lot of that as
Do
well.
you think vegans enjoy their food?
Yes, but I don't, because they might enjoy it, they might not, and that's even cooler if they don't enjoy it and they do it just.
We
for the
do
benefit
enjoy
of the
our
world.
food. We do enjoy
yeah,
our food.
even better.
And
I
we
personally
all
don't.
enjoyed eating animals before we switched to vegan too. But do you think your
tried
minutes
it.
of sensory pleasure justifies
Yes.
torturing, mutilating, confining animals?
Yes.
All right. What do you think? It's clear I'm not going to reach you. That's fine. I'm trying to connect with people who do care about animals. What do you think?
I don't have an opinion.
You don't. Okay, but if you say you don't have an opinion, but your actions are buying animal products, you do have an opinion. What we're asking for is people to respect animals' rights, and as long as you're paying for them to be exploited, that's your opinion. Even if you don't think you have an opinion,
Well,
your
I don't really
actions are
think-
saying you do.
Like, what if I buy halal food then?
Yeah.
That means they're not being exploited. They're not, like, being
Yeah.
tortured or anything.
That's a great question. I know many 70-year-olds who have gone
I
vegan.
know. I have a friend who went vegan. She's a couple of years older than me. Just a couple of years ago, it kind of uprooted her in many ways. From anyway, that's
Good for
another
her.
story. But yeah, you know, it's something I think about, but it's not something I feel like I can do because I'm
Hey, are you curious about our local
pretty dependent
On eggs and
dairy.
cheese?
Yeah.
Not
So we killed dogs.
mostly yogurt.
But I also realized that it gets quite expensive to be vegan. Like,
So-
tofu is quite expensive.
That's actually a common misconception that it's expensive to be vegan. There was a study done in Oxford and it looked at Western countries where we are, and it found that plant-based diets are actually 30% cheaper because the cheapest foods are beans, rice, potatoes, lentils. Like if you look just at meat-based substitutes, those can be more, but they even out in the end. So if you're worried about costs, that's actually a reason to go vegan. Let's create a hypothetical. Let's say there's a happy slaughterhouse where the animal has a painless death. Even in that situation, you're taking away their most fundamental right, which is the right to life, for an unnecessary reason. If I had a dog
That's
and
not
I gave
right.
him a good life,
That's not really alright.
but it's unnecessary to animals. If I had a dog and I gave him a good life, would I therefore be justified to shoot him in the head?
No.
But it's the
But
same
that's your-
thing.
It's not, but you said it's a fundamental right.
Their life is a fundamental
Who
right.
said that? That's your thinking.
Right.
Who said that though?
Based
Where
on
did you get
criteria like sentience and that they're individuals and that they feel pain and
that?
suffer.
But that's just your concept.
I understand. I mean, morality is a human concept. Like,
That's not
men
right.
didn't want to give women rights, but women fought for those rights because they said we're individuals who feel pain and suffer and don't want to be exploited. Same thing for animals. Just because some people don't want to give them rights doesn't mean they shouldn't have them. Is it harder for you to go without yogurt or harder for cows to be forcibly impregnated?
I get your point. It's not industrial farming, factory farming.
But even if it's a small farm, like I agree, we kind of have the industrial
I mean,
farming
the
as
idea
the worst of it.
milking a cow and drinking the milk of a cow.
But
that-
there are certain elements that are inherent to dairy that do and violate that cow's rights. For example, they're artificially inseminated, they're forcibly impregnated, their babies are taken from them.
I need to read up on this.
The only thing I don't understand is like, everything is based on morality, but why don't you do the same with humans though? just
I don't
understand.
murder humans
No,
either.
but as in, why would you choose to purchase a phone when you could live without a phone? Do you have a smartphone? Like, that's where I'm coming from.
Sure. So there's something, it's kind of like an appeal to futility. Like, just because we can't be perfect doesn't mean we shouldn't try. Going vegan
Then
is
why don't you can
very
easily
easy.
get rid of your phone?
No,
It
I
is-
can't.
Why not?
Because
Why don't you live that lifestyle?
it's not easy to get rid of your phone. And even if it
Because
was,
of your own personal benefit, right?
okay, at some
Sorry,
point
no,
we
please
have to
answer
come
that. I
down
was
to the
listening to you.
choices that we
Excuse me, I
have.
was listening to you. Can you please listen to me for this point?
Okay, what's the point?
It is for your personal benefit to own a phone. So why
You're
do
right.
you not? Why do you? Why?
She uses it.
I have to do it to have a job.
If you go live
Yeah.
in the woods,
Yeah,
you
but
can't
then
improve
there's a
society.
trade-off. Then exactly there's a trade-off. If your job is to help animals to do that,
Yeah, true.
the trade-off is owning a phone. In the case,
Yeah.
Let's
Do you
create a
help anyone, like, by
hypothetical.
abusing animals?
Here,
Oh, sorry.
let's
because it's my own
let's
personal
create a
benefit.
hypothetical, right? Let's say there are two phones, and I have a choice, and one phone I know comes
just-
from
you just-
human
you just skipped my question,
exploitation, I'm explaining it right now. Let's say one phone comes from human exploitation and the other doesn't.
Yeah.
I would absolutely choose the one
But the
that
point is
doesn't.
that's not a thing.
I don't have
That's
that
not a real world
choice.
example.
It
The
is. There
current
is
choice
one
you
in
could
Europe.
have a phone and you cannot have a phone, and I'm sure you have a phone.
Okay, let's
That's
say I
pretty
were
obvious.
kicking a dog right now and you asked me to stop
Yeah,
and I
but
said you have a
here's the thing.
phone.
Yes or no?
No.
Yes or no?
No,
Does the phone?
Let's say I were kicking a dog right now and you asked me to stop and I said, but you have a phone. Is that a good argument for me to keep kicking
No,
the
but
dog?
you're just looking
No,
at things
exactly.
from a moral
Same
from a
thing.
moral high
I'm
point.
asking you
That's the
not
issue
to
I have.
abuse animals when you can easily
I'm asking you
not.
not to exploit workers in Southeast Asia.
But you don't
by not
even-
owning a phone.
Okay,
But
well,
I'm not the one. I'm not the activist.
there
here.
is a
You are
phone
the one.
in Europe that
Do you
does
own
that.
that
No, I don't live in Europe. They don't have it in the US yet. I'm on the waiting list. As
Okay.
soon as it's available in the US, I'm going to get
And
it.
even
Wait,
then,
so you don't
then
believe
you
in
have.
having pets either?
Pets, I think adopting them is fine, but I'm not going to talk about pets with people who don't even think that animals shouldn't be stabbed for a sandwich, right? I would rather establish a foundation of
the
animal
moral high
rights.
point still doesn't like logic
Right.
here. It just doesn't.
All right, like I said, I'm
to.
trying to connect with people who do care about animals, so I hope that y'all have an excellent day.
This does not make sense.
Crazy.
What do you think is harder, you figuring out how to go vegan or an animal being confined, mutilated, tortured, and slaughtered?
Obviously, the animal.
Sure, yeah.
Yes.
So would you consider going vegan again?
I will try.
You'll try? Awesome. But unfortunately, until you do go vegan, animals are going to be exploited because of your actions. But you have the power to save literally thousands of animals by going vegan. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button. If you want to support my work, join my Patreon. Special thanks to my morally superior patrons.